Coming from the Truspace, we ain't esoteric neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace.
What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Hey guys, this is Harith. Welcome back to Truspace.
Yep, and this is your weekly horoscope. So let's get into the energies for the week. Looking at Monday, the 24th, the sun is entering into Scorpio. It's officially Scorpio season, and it's moving into Scorpio season with Venus too now, traveling together, making a trine to Juno in Pisces. How do you think that's going to hit?
Man, this Sun in Scorpio conjunction with Venus, if you thought the conjunction with the Sun in Libra was bad, all those delusion coming from the Sun and then Venus creating all those love, harmonious moment for you to take action on, but these could create a lot of opportunities, but not all opportunities are great. Now, having the Sun conjuncting Venus in the 8th house, this is taking these relationships and try to be fixated and rooted on them and to test the power and control issues that they deal with. This is you testing your relationships because you want to see if you could, how far you could ascend with them to prepare yourself for like Capricorn season. But right now, having the trine to Juno and Pisces, Juno is like marriage energy, and like having Juno and Pisces, like this is you marrying your dreams or form of illusion, depending on which side you are on. And when the Sun enters Scorpio, this is like you becoming aware of your own vulnerabilities. So you could be on the bad side of avoiding your vulnerabilities, then those you're gonna create opportunities to not to marry your dreams and illusion and things of that nature, or you could be on the positive side to find your vulnerabilities, become much more determined about taking power and control of these things, and that will help you decide to really marry what you want to do from a dream and illusion and ascend from that scorpionic dark water to like the Pisces realm.
Absolutely. And that's why it was so important for in Libra season for us to create real, genuine relationships based off of what we can offer and, you know, what we genuinely really need to help complete us or to help, like the other half, to have that honest self-assessment. That's what Virgo was, with the honest self-assessment of your mentalities and how you live in your life. And then Libra, is you trying to initiate the conversation of that, trying to stretch out your relatability and see how you relate with others and create the relationships that you can best relate with others. Because now in Scorpio season, those connections that you made are going to get a lot deeper. Just like what you were saying, and Venus is here too. So it's funny, and this is where Venus falls. So it hates being in Scorpios because Scorpio was so dark behind the scenes. Venus wants to be seen. Scorpio doesn't have any light, or it's really dark depths, really in the internal realm. So it's hard to make those parts of us, which are so individual, which are so engraved based off of your memory, because water is memory, and then this is fixed. So being fixated on the emotions that you have built up over time, and just like your medical astrology, isn't that Scorpio?
It's a reproductive
like
system.
constipation or something like that, or
Yeah, this is where you could possibly experience like your blood flow becoming destructive, essentially. Power control issues. Yeah.
what do you
Conjunction.
congestion and shit like that, building up
Yeah.
of mucus.
Yeah.
So with that deepening of the connections, we're being called to be very vulnerable, especially with Venus and Scorpio, for us to be very relatable. So, with that conjunction in Libra, we are probably, oh, I relate to this, I relate to this, I relate to this. It's along those lines of, people who think that everything can be so positive, that everything can be so light and fluffy, that because you relate on one level that you can keep on milking this. But going into Scorpio season, you're gonna, when the connection gets deeper, aka it's getting colder outside, you're not as social. The people that you hang around cuts in half because of the weather, because of the moment, and you want to be closer with these people, or the people that are around you that you're stuck and close with, during these seasons. You want it to be the people that you really fuck with, that support your dreams, that can help you and motivate you and uplift you, and not accentuate your insecurities, your vulnerabilities. But if you've been just fucking around, Scorpio season, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. You've been saying that you can, oh yeah, we could fuck every day and all of that to try and get the girl, boosting her up. Scorpio season, you're gonna have to fuck her every day, and nigga, you may not even have the stamina for that. You may not even have the fucking libido to go and keep up with the promises, and then that energy can go into all different areas of life where you thought it was relatable or looked like you can add all of that, but based off of you not putting in even energy, maybe it's 60-40 or whatever the situation may be. Once the walls start closing in, once things start getting more intense, they're getting into your deeper feelings and emotions, and vulnerabilities start to become exposed, where the relationships that you had started poking at those vulnerabilities, or are they giving you the outlet and the way out to transform those negative emotions into something positive, where you are rewarded or loved and create friendships based off of your vulnerabilities, based off of your intensity, based off of the thing that really gets you going, that is at the core of your soul, that you'll have relationships that truly accept that side of you and love you for that side of you. This is what we're starting to see. And if you have been planting bad seeds coming into Scorpio season, you're going to have trouble with that, where your surroundings or your relationships may be a little bit more not ready for that intensity, not ready to receive that core aspect. So either you got to balance out your relationships, find better relationships to play that catch-up game so that you can get deeper and exposed. And this is not just with people. This is people, places, and things that you can relate to. So whatever it is that you can be deepening your connection with, make sure that it's something that is healthy. Otherwise, insecurities will really make you close up and not want to relate with people, especially with the sun conjuncting on Venus. You're going to be so focused on maybe what you don't have, going to be so focused on the vulnerabilities and the insecurities, the things that don't look right, that aren't aesthetic. You'll get hella lost into that and might not come out. And yeah, the sun in Scorpio and Venus in Scorpio are in conjuncting Jupiter in Aries. How do you think that'll hit?
That's interesting. As the sun, basically your awareness is going down to basically your reproductive organs. It make you becoming aware of what happened there in your hidden areas. Where does your desires truly come from compared to what you started in Aries season, what you thought and what you initiated through your brain and nervous system? That like the sun right now in the Scorpio is helping you become aware of that. Where did that nervous system initiate it first? Because a lot of us will initiate a vision or imagination, but we would never make it that connection with the lower part of the feminine side of Mars, which is Scorpio, bringing the first house together and the eighth house together. Eighth house together. That in conjunction is making you get reminded how to become aware of your deep desires, but not forget to continue to expand knowledge and wisdom on what Jupiter wants you to do as a retrograding back to your dreams, illusions. It's going back to Pisces, making you aware of these subconscious things that allow you to give birth to certain visions and imagination. But the sun is allowing you to become aware of the demons that comes from that back end from it.
Absolutely. Scorpio seasons when you get into the real emotions, Cancer, you're just sensitive as hell, and then Pisces, you're just reacting to everything, But it's Scorpio seasons, that's the shit you don't want to talk about. That's the real soft topic. And then the moon, is gonna conjunct Mercury in Libra, making a trine with Mars in Gemini, and a trine with Saturn in Aquarius. So the moon's going to enter into that grand air trine that we were just experiencing with the sun and Venus. So how do you think that'll play out?
That's very interesting as our awareness and our love matters is getting slowed down by the Scorpio energy. We're having this nice trying to speed up our thought process from all perspectives before we experience the new moon in Scorpio. So like this is good for closing in those deals, the relationships, finalizing what makes sense and what does not make sense before you go test who could and who could not basically work with you in long term. Like Scorpio is perfect for like testing longevity, and because it's gonna make you understand why is it square Aquarius the 11th house. Because if you don't know how to deal with the behind the scene things with the associate, you can like rise to a high level when it comes to association, and you can see that with everyday life. Politicians, kings, leaders who get exposed for what they keep behind the scene.
Absolutely. And then look at how, Aquarius is kind of distant, above your feelings and emotions and what's supposed to be logical. But in Scorpio, it's just about your feelings and emotions. It's the rawest aspect of them. So it's kind of hard to put that aside for the collective. It's hard, even though you know it's most logical. Those are the energies that you're really fixated on. So those conversations, you in terms of stability, you may not like them. And then just Gemini is in conjunction too, and then what Libra. Yeah, you may not like the conversations that may be going on, or they may even shed light on aspects of your relationships or social lives that would really um, rub that Scorpio, those sore spots. So maybe it's really important to pay attention to what's being talked about, the ideas that come to your head, and what your friends say, and how they respond to the things that you're saying, and just the people around you, giving you a clue of how you could go about Scorpio season and deepening your relationships. And what about Neptune and Pisces are conjuncting the moon in late Libra?
So basically, as you're closing in the Scorpio cycle with this Libra energy, trying to deal with all these relationship and initiating these conversation, you gotta become aware of your dreams and illusion. Do not forget, as you're closing this cycle, you still gotta remember what's happening with your subconscious realm, as it also retrograding, making things highly confused, and you might get into the wrong relationship based on upon you guys sharing a certain dream, and then you initiating the wrong conversation. So in conjunction might play that as a major confusion with your like associate and then your subconscious mind. But it's hard to separate
Mm-hmm.
those things because as you communicate with people, you're eventually gonna start communicating about your dreams and illusion. But like you meet people off relate initiating a relationship off first as opposed to connecting on like a subconscious level, and that's what creates like
I get
longevity
what you
versus
mean.
like short term basically.
That's what Kanye should have did if he had a nigga who was like the Hebrew Israelite nigga, and he just talked to that nigga. That's a nigga who he got the information from, instead of just reacting to the general feelings and emotions of the surroundings. Maybe he would have been, more airheady or more detailed. But yeah. And then what about Lilith in Cancer squaring Jupiter in Aries?
So Lila is basically us dealing with the dark side of the moon, our emotion in Cancer. Trying to get comfortable with these home domestic issues. Trying to like, initiate feelings and emotion. The more we can initiate feelings and emotion, that's how we develop like immune system health. And this is how you could really tell it. Like earth signs or fire signs, they may experience the negative side of not having the water element in their body, bad lymphatic immune system, dry skin, and things of that nature. But because they can initiate that feeling and emotion, like fire signs will initiate fire element, which lead to inflammation, while earth sign could initiate too much earth element, which could lead to constriction, stiffness, and things of that nature. So like Lilith in Cancer, like this is you trying to deal with like a bad white blood cell, like a cancer, and that square is you that learning opportunity, that expansion that you need to experience in your brain and nervous system to understand how to deal with that like bad white blood cell, basically Lilith in Cancer.
That's interesting because, yeah, that bad white blood cell would start attacking you, and how you're supposed to expand, you know, have more faith in yourself and expand the idea of yourself and really chase your dreams when an aspect of you is attacking itself. So when your darker, deeper emotions are really attacking you. It's harder to give faith into yourself, for sure, for sure. So yeah, Monday's looking like a very emotional day, guys. Like, especially coming into Scorpio, where it's gonna be a lot of the mental. So you're gonna have to try and remember that a lot of things are going to be said, but the general overarching theme is really the Scorpio intensity emotion. So don't take these things too hard and you start dipping more into the vulnerability aspect of this energy. You want to stay above the waters right now so you can see what is happening, especially with the air trine that is going on and the things that are being said. Utilize that information in the conversations to find out more information on where you can be vulnerable. Find out what needs to be balanced in order for you to be vulnerable, and how you can really deepen your connections. What connections can you deepen? What need to be deepened? Really focus on that, or direct your mental energy into that, and not get lost in the conversation on Monday, because there will be a lot of conversation that might distract you from that or try to make you feel vulnerable. And that's how Monday's looking. Looking at Tuesday, um, the new moon is happening, conjuncting Venus, um, and the South Node in Scorpio. How
So
do you think
like,
this solar eclipse, is gonna happen?
so this is basically giving you a new emotional feeling to really go about dealing with your eighth house, your vulnerabilities, your power and control issues, your money. And like Scorpio, the eighth house deal with like regeneration. Regeneration is for the sake of like initiating a better Leo fifth house. Like that's the square relationship. If you can't detoxify yourself, you could never develop a better self-expression, and that's a fact, because you can't go on the stage if you're not fit. You did not do what you need to do behind the scene, and the more you deal with behind the scene, the more lighter you're gonna be in front of the stage, more likely for you to get backstabbed, robbed, and things of that nature. So that's important. And then having the new moon conjunctive Venus is helping you to deal with your love matters and what you want to create harmony. And when it comes to your vulnerability, that it's very hard for you to understand, since you're in the depth of the darkness. It's hard for you to feel anything. But this new emotional feeling is, since new moons deal with shedding, this allows you to become lighter. It's like ascending through the darkness, but you're still in the darkness of Scorpio. But this is much more better than like Monday.
For sure. Like what you're saying, reminded me of Amin Ra, the 1 meal a day weightlifting vegan
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
and
The
how he
dude.
talked about autophagy, where he would do the intermittent fasting to put his body into an autophagy, I think is what he called it, that state of being, so that
Mm,
it could renew his proteins, so that it could break up
mm.
his proteins and renew them, making him physiologically younger, you know?
Exactly, exactly. Those
So
like
that's
eight.
what sounds like is going on.
That's almost like an eighth house practice, which could be, it could sound freaky, but like that's he using it in like a percentage level, fasting, cutting certain things, power and control.
Letting
But look
go
what,
of certain things. Letting go of
but
food for a specific amount of time.
and look at his physical state. He looks like a god.
And he looks like a god for sure. And this is his anti-aging techniques. Look what we're talking about with Scorpio, with Pluto, how it represents transformation, birth. You can literally become a new person. You can literally, and it plays out physically through health. You can literally renew your entire bodies and vitalize your cells and be healthier than you ever were in your 20s or whatever it is. You can really up your genetics in that, just the way, same way in life, how you can really transform into a new person, have different thoughts and feelings, different emotions, different vulnerabilities. Those all about things that you were scared of, that you didn't want people to see, those can transform and fade away and ebb away into something else, and now you're more afraid for people to see this, but it doesn't really come into much combat with your life. So You can deal with it more. Embracing that vulnerability is going to be a key aspect of this solar eclipse. Embracing that vulnerability, embracing the transformation, really realizing that you're going to have to transform regardless. So you take power and control over this transformation, and you can capitalize the most of it. And instead of it feeling like, oh, I'm depriving myself, and having those negative mentalities that the medical establishment wants you to think about, stuff like fasting, or like you're eating away at yourself, or you're being lessened because you're not adding more. But that's not true. You are making use of what's already there, what has already been accumulated, and freeing yourself up. So have that type of perspective with your transformations instead of allowing the world to take control over your feelings and emotions, and really push those buttons. Don't let those niggas come and push those buttons and vulnerabilities. You jump into that. You jump at the vulnerability. You go into that space first, so they don't get to you in that way. So yeah, that's how Tuesday's looking. Looking at Wednesday, we have the moon in late degrees of Scorpio squaring Saturn in Aquarius. How do you think this is going to end?
So we're gonna be emotionally reacting to our fixated vulnerabilities, and the sun is in Scorpio, so that's how we act. This is gonna be like very dark too, and the square is gonna be us initiating the learning opportunities that we need to emotionally come out of behind the scene realm to do what we need to do when it comes to Saturn Aquarius, us creating those restrictions and boundaries that we need to do when it comes to our association, friends, group, our way of thinking, and not allow our vulnerabilities to hold us back, especially coming from the new moon in Scorpio. So as we dive deeper and deeper into the moon in Scorpio, and then you're squaring Saturn and Aquarius, you're getting demanded not to look back and just to move forward, because like this is where the future is going. Pluto is gonna move to Aquarius, so like this is the same thing.
Absolutely. And then, it's crazy. I didn't even peep, or wasn't even thinking that, yeah, the moon is debilitated in Scorpio, or falls in Scorpio, and Venus is debilitated here. So I'm telling you, man, relatability is going to be real hard. It's going to be real hard. That's why I'm telling you that you have to be in control of the power and controls, because, like, with aspects like this, where Saturn and Aquarius calling you to be self-sacrificing, calling you to be logical in aspects like that in order to gain stability. And then it's referring to your social world and your social life. You may not be able to even really respond to that in too heavy a way, but or understand it on a relationship aspect. But if you go into this energy with the mentality of transforming yourself, of you taking power and control over your own emotions and transforming them, then you'll find that this square plays out more as a stepping stone in terms of letting you know where your deep connections um, can lead to. Um, yeah, letting you know what that passion, what that transformation that is due, where that can lead you mentally, and once you get past those emotions, how much mental space you'll be able to have, how much more social you'll be able to be, and that's what that square is going to show you. So it's just showing you what you're going to be when you're leveled up, and don't get so caught at it maybe showing you where you are at right now, still dealing with the vulnerabilities. You're going to have to see the higher message to get out of that, because there's going to be really no relatability. It's going to be very vulnerable with the moon in Scorpio, aiding with Venus. So I just want y'all to be warned about that vulnerability.
In medical astrology, Aquarius is like the highest aspect of our nervous system that allows us to correlate different body parts together. In Chinese medicine, they like to describe it as like this energy channel flow system. So the new moon in Scorpio, this is if you take it like a nice esoteric shit, aka transform, detox, then you're gonna be able to correlate higher aspect of your nervous system as opposed to allowing too much toxin accumulation, which lead to what fogginess. You can't think clearly. So now you can put this idea and this idea together. So now you can see what you and your associate could do together. So now you can create the restriction and boundaries, strengthen your nervous system for what Saturn Aquarius wants you to do. So because you didn't take the nice transformation shit in Scorpio.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the moon is making a trine to Neptune and Pisces. How do you think that's so hit?
Man, this is all, like this is you seeing what could possibly be, and the possibility of coming out of the dark. It's like you're getting excited, happy. It's supposed to give you the mutable aspect to mute it out of that fixation on that one feeling, that one vulnerability, and trying to receive feelings and emotions, trying to give meaning and reason to them, so you could like separate from the dark water.
Absolutely. It seems like Neptune and Pisces is really helping out with the energy in terms of, yeah, helping you creatively imagine the future of what could be. You know, even though there may be challenges right now, due to those challenges, they're giving you insight and glimpses of to what really can be, and what your feelings and emotions can be once you let them become more mutable. And then especially with the opposition with the North Node and Uranus and Taurus to the moon,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's really asking for what you have right now, and what you have to show for things. Neptune and Pisces is really helping you show like you can obtain this. So it's not getting stuck in that opposition with the moon in Scorpio, looking at, poking at the vulnerability, saying that, oh, you believe in this, or this is how you feel, you don't even have this, or that there's no ground for you to stand on, or to try and diminish the value of Scorpio, aka your deeper emotions that you hold deep and close to you. But Neptune and Pisces, your belief system, really directing your beliefs. And because you believe in specific things, you're able to imagine a better future. So your beliefs can really help you through situations on Wednesday, and help you power through the challenges that are there by being creatively imagining, and really believing in yourself.
You definitely don't want to start this, especially when it's the end of the new moon, with you trying to escape through Neptune and Pisces due to the heavy opposition with the North Node and Uranus and Taurus too. So like you want to face this head on, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's how Wednesday is looking. Looking at Thursday, the moon in Sagittarius is squaring Juno in Pisces. How do you think this is going to hit?
So we're gonna be emotionally reacting to those broad visions that basically we extracted from this the new moon in Scorpio. Us going deeper in our vulnerabilities, us understanding our power control issues, us looking for like holes in our money, who could take our money and things of that nature. But money comes in different format. Like in Scorpio, it comes to money. Like when it comes from a royal fan perspective, them having a bloodline that could control for years, that is real money. As opposite Taurus, while you guys think like value, stability, earth is what matters. But if I create a bloodline that you understand what we're doing behind the scene, then you would understand true wealth and things of that nature. But true, that concept leads to the extreme power and control issues. This is where you see royal family kids tearing down the entire family, and they don't want to follow obligation anymore.
I get what you mean. The intense emotions that are built up based off
And
of those things.
and this is quite fitting right now because we experience the square to June and Pisces, and June is you getting married to that one dream, or basically you getting married to one this illusion, whatever side you're good on. So as you're ascending out of this, the darkness, you having this broad vision and imagination because you understand the depth of the darkness. Now you can go through the learning opportunities that you need to see. Uh, can you handle this imagination that you're receiving? Because right now you're going to express yourself, express the knowledge and wisdom, but you're not Judah and Pisces. Like I'm gonna give you those dreams, illusion. Are you gonna stick to these things before you hit the square with Neptune and Pisces, where you're gonna hit those esoteric waves where you might get heavily delusional, doubt yourself, and things of that nature. Things might get heavily confusing at that point.
I see where that confusion could come from, where it's really challenging the knowledge that you gain from your experience, and still making you feel like there's more behind the scenes that you haven't dealt with, and it may be confusing. And if you don't even acknowledge that confusion while you're speaking, others may pick up on the energy and be like, "Oh, it doesn't sound like you really know what you're talking about," or it sounds like there's a little bit more to the story. So be aware of that energy and know that there's still more to understand, and be open to how deep this information is, especially with the sun in Scorpio. And this is really nice energy to have happen after the solar eclipse and all of this vulnerability, because the moon in Sagittarius will help you put meaning and purpose towards that vulnerability and really start to understand what that means, and really help you creatively imagine what type of futures are there for you, what type of emotions that you can really learn from, that you had felt from all of those vulnerabilities. So the moon's gonna come be in a darkness where it's very sensitive, where it's very receptive with the solar eclipse, but you're going to be really able to put it all together. And it may be a lot, and it may be just like with the square with Juno and Pisces, a lot of things that you may not be able to explain. But like true Sagittarius energy, go with what you have, trust in your experiences, and trust in the wisdom and knowledge that you have accumulated, and use that to create your deep connections and what you want to truly relate to, and the transformation that you want to take happen. Really utilize the time on Thursday, and it's even Jupiter Day too, to really make sense out of your feelings and emotions, your deeper aspects, and how you want to express them and how you want them to expand. What emotions do you want to feel? A lot of us, especially with the Scorpio energy, you come up with the stinger whenever people get close, and then but you never communicate what it is that you do want when they're close, or how people should approach you to get to that closeness. So with the moon in Sag, here's your chance to really understand what it is that you do want, and what would allow you to open up your walls to allow the vulnerability in, for you to start dealing with this energy in a more healthy way.
This is funny because in biology, whatever happened, the eighth house is gonna transform you. But that transformation, you're gonna feel it through Sagittarius, the ninth house. It rules Jupiter, so that's where you can experience the negative side or the positive side of tissue expansion. So if you don't detox, you don't go of your vulnerabilities, then you're gonna develop bad tissue, bad muscular development, then you can't develop a better mental spaceship. And Sagittarius is all about having faith. Faith is what get them so far in life. And just having the optimism and then living through it, then extracting knowledge and wisdom, and that's what make them basically philosophers and things of that nature.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's real opportunity for you to really see the bright side of things on Thursday. And even though things may not lighten up in your surroundings, but you can add, that light, or feel where the light has gone. That's why I look at Sagittarius, whereas Aries is the spark of the fire, Leo is the fire burning, but Sagittarius is the warmth that you feel coming from the fire. It's the heat that's dissipating from it. So it's like you can tell of energy that was there, and that's why it's experience. It represents experience. But yeah,
That's pretty good.
that's Thursday. Looking at Friday, the moon in Sagittarius is gonna square Jupiter retrograding from Aries to
To
Pisces.
So as we're diving deeper and learn how to be more optimistic and faithful, because in Thursday we had like the nice learning opportunity from Juno to try to be optimistic. But right now we're meeting the heavy square with Jupiter, because we have to look back and learn how to extract more knowledge and wisdom when it comes to our subconscious mind, which comes before how we develop our first Abraham, our first impression, our first part of our personality. Some of us, we don't realize how that creates our personality and how that our personality is developed even before behind the scene. So like that's a very important alignment to get to know it, because it's gonna make you, because in the new moon in Scorpio, you realize your deepest dark vulnerabilities, and in Sagittarius, you realize, oh, how I could develop a faith around it and become more optimistic, the highest religious understanding. Then the square to Jupiter is you realizing what you really need to work on, and you still requiring to receive more because it's a retrograde. So you gotta learn how not to be too reckless and not to express too much, which could the mutable fire Sagittarius put you through due to the broadness of it. Because the more broad you are, the more you're trying to see reality.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then dipping back into Pisces is dipping back into all of your previous experiences, even diving back into the accumulation of the last 12 years that we have been through, which is the previous Jupiter cycle, and all of the subconscious meanings and reasonings that you had accumulated from there. I can so see how the meaning and reasonings that you accumulated through your experiences, and you may have experienced bullshit, you may have experienced trauma, you may have experienced a whole bunch of things, maybe things that you don't want to experience or that you don't want to have wisdom and knowledge of now, that you want to move away from and expand it to different areas. But with that, the moon in Sagittarius, when you're trying to expand into those different areas, when you're trying to control the direction of what you experience emotionally, here comes Jupiter reminding you of your past things that you gave meaning and reasoning to, and the experiences that you have had back there may create more vulnerability, more confusion around what it is that you want to get into. That's why with the moon in Sagittarius, you really have to one, be honest and really use what makes you optimistic. You know, when you're looking at your vulnerabilities, what is the brighter side of it? How does this turn into something that is beneficial? If you were to be just plain idyllic or optimistic, how would that situation pull out, and what options are there that's available? If you follow that train of thought, once these squares come, you'll start to see where it's exposed. You'll be like, oh, that's an old mentality. Remember, Jupiter's in retrograde, so it's right now it's trying to remind you. So it's like, oh, okay, it's going through those experiences, but for you to hold on into what you want to feel, basically hold on to that. What it is, what feelings that you do want to feel, what experiences that you do want to have regarding your deeper emotions, how what it will look like for you to establish a deep connection. How does that feel? Really get into that state of being, and you'll be able to fly through these squares or take the learning experiences. Maybe you'll get keys and clues to be like, oh, the reason why I feel or I'm supposed to this is because this experience that I had, and really start making sense on your subconscious mind instead of having it throw you off. And then Neptune and Pisces is the square there too. So yeah, on Friday, I feel like it's a real plot to put the wool over your eyes. There's a real plot to put you to sleep or rock you to sleep again. And it's all of these generational planets too. So it made me feel like the world around you is conspiring for you to fall back into old habits or to influence you subconsciously. But you really have to take that initiative to be conscious of your subconscious mind, or directing of where your subconscious mind is going to go, where your faith is going, what emotions that you want to have. And don't fall into la la land and start being optimistic about situations that really won't happen, that there's really no opportunity for. Use that creative energy to create something that is real, that is right in front of you, that directly relates to Scorpio, what you're trying to deeply connect to, what you want to become more intimate, what you want to become a passion. That's what you should be focusing your optimism on, not some la la land dream that has to do with all of these other things, because you weren't hugged enough when you're a kid. That's why you think you want to fuck all of these shorties and shit like that, or go into all of that energy. But the real energy is that you weren't really hugged as a kid and weren't loved, or it goes to that. I'm telling you, so much buried memories from childhood act out like that, and that's what leads to a lot of the vulnerabilities that we see in Scorpio. That what leads to a lot of the intensity of emotions that we see in Scorpio. I bet Scorpio in the eighth house rules trauma. But yeah, that's how Friday's looking. Whole curveballs on Friday. Really try and stay in your spiritual side. Stay in the aspect of I knowing that you need to know more, knowing that there's brighter horizons for you to expand into on Friday. All right,
And
yeah. So
where were we?
yeah, moving on to Saturday. Um,
Oh
we
yeah.
have the moon in Capricorn opposite Lilith in Cancer. How do you think this is gonna hit?
So this is time for the moon. This is gonna be similar to how the moon felt in Scorpio. Since it was deeply in Scorpio, we didn't know how to feel in the depth of darkness and our vulnerabilities. But the moon in Capricorn is almost like a step up. This is us. We don't feel properly, but this is us like taking action on us. This is doing something practical about it. This is the sixth house between the eighth house and then the 10th house, us to maybe taking initiative status to really fix our public life based upon what we experience when it comes to our vulnerabilities and things of that nature. So right now the moon in Capricorn is making you take this initiative, business status like energies, so you could be emotionally much more tougher, especially coming from the new moon in Scorpio, which might have been you felt a lot of vulnerabilities and hopefully did enough ego inflation with Sagittarius to give yourself enough meaning and reasoning, optimism to really prepare yourself for Capricorn to know what you want to take action on and be serious in. It's ruled by Saturn, so you think about longevity and like what truly makes sense, and like what you're willing to slave yourself into, like, but not in a negative way, in a good way, to take your part in reality. That's what Capricorn energy teaches you, and the opposition to Lilith in Cancer. This is experiencing the depth of what you need to get very comfortable in, which could be better right now since we already experienced the new moon in Scorpio. So you may have better ways of handling Lilith in Cancer, so it shouldn't be as bad. But the moon in Capricorn is making you take power and control of these emotional issues at home, which could be like very dark. Capricorn make you take like serious steps, like practical steps.
Absolutely. That sounds like you're really rolling up your sleeves to deal with the deeper, darker emotions that that may be afflicting you with the opposition with Lilith, where you may not be able to really be fully accountable and maintain that ambitious energy when faced with Lilith and Cancer with the dark side of your emotions, or it may be harder to hold your high space with it depending on what seeds you have been planting. But it's definitely going to be that challenge where you are being applauded now to take responsibility for your feelings and emotions. You're now being applauded to, like what you were saying, to take practical action into feeling the way that you had decided that you wanted to feel, and that the feelings, the emotion that you gave faith to, that you believed that you could have when the moon was in Sagittarius. Now you're taking the practical steps to start to achieve that, and you're starting to utilize the emotional tools that you have to clean it up. But moon in Capricorn, because the moon is debilitated here, I feel like moon in Capricorn can lead to sensitive emotions. Either the person is able to really be practical about their emotions, or they don't like to deal with it at all. You know what I mean? It's like has that type of energy. And if you have the practical approach side to dealing with your emotions, to utilizing, making sense out of your vulnerabilities, understanding, oh, this is my vulnerability. Okay, let me organize myself in this way and organize my emotions in these ways so I don't trigger these vulnerabilities in certain situations, or I can maximize my strengths and minimize the weaknesses. Being more conservative with your emotional energy now that you have more information and knowledge of your vulnerabilities and the deeper, darker aspects of them. But Lilith really may be distracting you, really may be pulling you
Oh.
into being
Mm-hmm.
emotional. And you look at Lilith, you look at your dark emotions that you're really holding on to. With the moon in Capricorn, you're like, I have all this energy. Yeah, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to take control over all of my emotions. And you see Lilith in Cancer, it's like, you know what? Maybe, maybe next time, or I don't know if I'm gonna deal with that. It may be intense. So try and hold on to that energy and really roll up your sleeves and deal with those emotions. Make them practical.
And medical astrology, this could be funny because the moon, like CJ is saying, it could be very, could make you very not want to feel what's happening in your bones, and like your bones are made up of your bone marrow, but your bone marrow begins from like Cancer, and having Lilith there in Cancer, you like this is you after basically you completely builded your physical structure, and now you're looking back at your immune system, realizing, oh, there's a cancer cell I gotta deal with. That mean, oh, the structure that I already built it could be it could lead to like bad issues because you just realized, oh, I gotta take care of this, and this is where Capricorn gotta take out of its own immune abilities and take care of these things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the moon in Capricorn is making a square to Chiron in Aries. How do you see this playing out?
Oh, so man, when the moon in Capricorn, this will make you take a serious step, and the square to Chiron in Aries, you don't give a fuck about your personal issues, your like your early environment that might affect how you take action when it comes to your public life. So this is what the square is gonna make you deal with. Create those healing opportunities through tough situation, and then you being emotionally tough to look at what's happening with your brain and nervous system, but still to keep going.
Exactly, to handle the mistakes that you have maybe made with your personal desires and your ambitions, and to, you know, get over that and still roll up your sleeves and tackle onto those emotions. For sure, to not let the square to Chiron and Aries, maybe they deal with previous mistakes that you have already made, that come up and be like, oh, make you feel like you can't handle those emotions. But still, that's not true. You're a seasoned expert now. It's not, oh, this always happens. No, you're a veteran at dealing with this now. And now through that more experience, you have way higher of a chance to overcome them. So keep on going. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you,
It's almost like you already experienced winter and you know spring is coming, so you're not worried about spring.
hmm exactly. You're just trying to manage and make the most out of this winter time because you know springtime is gonna come. Absolutely.
And we also having a trine to the North Node and Uranus in Taurus. Basically giving you all these opportunities to see and basically to take action because like you're feeling bossy, you feel like you could initiate whatever status you want, which is the right confidence that your emotion needs, especially coming from the new moon in Scorpio, to handle those unique original opportunity. They could be heavily chaotic with Uranus, unexpected situation. It could play out through opportunities to technology, stocks, crypto, finding all type of opportunities through your physical situations. You creating new values. You learning how to meditate, so now you control your internal system. So now you don't need anything from the physical world and things of that nature. Yeah, and the North Node is just you
Absolutely.
confirming your spiritual path more and more, basically.
hmm the taking charge and really trying to manage and conserve your emotions and practicalize your emotions is showing you, yeah, you're right, all those opportunities, all of the newness that is available. Because once we get that in check, in order, especially since the sun is in Scorpio, given the opposite energy of those things, that we'll be able to make that link with our passions and desires with what's actually of value in the world. So Saturday is a good day for seeing that money because you taking your emotions more seriously. Now there's more opportunity for you to take advantage of the new things that maybe your old vulnerabilities may have held you back for, but now that you are acknowledging that you're going to suck it up and deal with the energy. There's so much possibilities that are out there. And then how does that also tie in with the trine with Ceres and Virgo? It's
So
Earth
this is
trine.
giving you is you give you're having a nice earlier this week on Monday, I think we had the air trine, basically, which help you to speed up your communication process and your thoughts as you enter Scorpio season. And then right now we're in Saturday, Shabbat. We're experiencing this heavy earth energy, allowing you to anchor yourself after all these experiences when it comes to at least the first quarter of this moon cycle, us getting to know our vulnerabilities and willing to take action on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Saturday
we're
is a
ready to,
good.
yeah, we're ready to cultivate, basically, build heavily.
Yeah, Saturday is a good day to get physical. Saturday is a good day to get practical. Saturday is a good day to make the investments in yourself, to get up and start moving, and to bring something things down. Whereas the rest of the week maybe more so focusing on your emotional side, and making sense out of the intense energy that is going on post eclipse, and drawing meaning from it. But Capricorn's the Saturday is the time to start initiating. So, when you're looking at the whole week, really try and make sense out of the whole week. But on Saturday, know that plans have to be put into motion. And then when you do that, you'll find the planets are more in your favor. And then the sextile is going on with the sun in Scorpio with all of that energy. So it will really help you ground your feelings and emotions, create some stability for your passions and emotions to take shape and form, where it's not an endless void. They have a shape that they can relate to. And now Scorpio's not just vulnerabilities, but it's passions now. Now that intensity is not working against you. You're putting that intensity out into the world, into creating something physical.
Definitely, definitely.
And then Mercury enters Scorpio.
So all our like communication, our thought process is gonna dive in the deep end of Scorpio. This is not logical thinking. This is like you're heavily thinking about your fixated emotional state, your vulnerabilities, power control issues. Mercury deal with your siblings, co-workers, brother. So this might be the time where all these people within you, like from your third house, might start to speak up about these eighth house aspect and really speed up the acceleration process of what was happening down there. Like communicate. We're seeing this, that, though. I'll talk about occult, mysticism, and things like that. Becoming aware of what's happening behind the scene, what makes us uncomfortable.
For sure. For sure. I have my Mercury in Scorpio, and I can definitely attest where it's sometimes it's like if I can't talk about occult shit with people, I don't want to talk to them. I don't
That's
even want
just
to
the
have
way.
the conversation.
Just with
but
alignment. Just with alignment.
but that can play out negatively for me as well, where I miss out on certain information or I miss out on certain connections because of concepts like that. But it also plays out positively, but because I'm like that, I end up meeting the people who want to talk about that occult shit, and have that because I put out those feelers. I'm like, do you want to talk about this occult shit? Do you want to get deep and intense? No? All right, I don't even want to fucking talk. Oh, do you want to get deep and intense? Oh shit, you do? Oh shit, you know about this too? Oh, and then you can dive deeper.
Uh,
So that's how Saturday's looking. Saturday is real earthy, man. Really trying to ground those emotions. You'll really have a real attempt to ground those emotions. Put that emotion into your food. Put it into
yeah.
something that you're doing physical. Just ground it to earth on Saturday.
Yeah, like emotional precision, like directing all that like emotion somewhere that's practical. Mm.
Absolutely. Looking at Sunday, the moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto in Capricorn now. How do you think this will play out?
Man, this is time for you to face Pluto. Hopefully, you're looking at everything from Pluto perspective. So you're taking power and control issues when it comes to your status, your business, and then so this conjunction is gonna make you to speed up the process of taking control and handling your fears when it comes to your status, your business, and all what's happening with the world. So you don't run away. Pluto conjuncting the moon is bringing those necessary emotional moments so you continue to grow your physical structure, so you can continue to walk and stand in this world. And in the sextile in Neptune and Pisces, this is you receiving the right dreams, illusions, imagination, so you could know how to take action on what's practical. Of In medical astrology, it plays a very funny because Neptune and Pisces deals with our skin, but in cold weather, a lot of people, if you don't wear a jacket, you would notice how this coldness affects your skin. Then how it's gonna make your body shake if you stay there for a while, which is something a lot of people don't notice. So as you're receiving all these vibrations, you're getting ready to transform and take harder actions, basically. Yeah.
I get what you mean, and it seems beneficial since Pluto's the ruling planet of Scorpio, or you'll really have an opportunity where Scorpio is like showing you uh like it relates with Capricorn in that sextile aspect where that deep connection that you feel in Scorpio helps you feel have the responsibility, uphold a certain status, uphold your responsibilities in your title, and really playing out that role and fulfilling that role because of the deep connections that you have to it. So once you can extend, and this is where Scorpio can help out, because if you're really passionate about your career, you can develop those deep emotional connection and use that obsessive nature of Pluto to help elevate you into the world. Obsession is not bad energy. Most of the time, for a lot of things, you need to be obsessed. If you want to be an entrepreneur to a degree, you have to be obsessed. If you want to be a musical artist, you have to be obsessed. If you want to do certain things, you have to really get into the deep depths of things. You won't get past the surface unless you're truly obsessed with it, where you allow it to encapsulate you. So the Capricorns, Scorpio squares that's happened with the moon, and I mean sextile that's happened with the moon and Capricorn is really helping you make the right deep connections to the things that you truly respect, the things that you truly hold into a high place, elevating your efficiency to like higher levels, to high levels, if you are open to the vulnerability. Otherwise, this vulnerability can crush you, or it can create opportunities for you to hide from the public, create opportunities for you to use your stinger and not really deal with the emotions that are being hit with you, and you're just adding more accumulation. That's like doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do with Pluto alignments in terms of confronting it. Don't try and put it to the side, because Pluto's gonna come and clap your ass the next time it's coming back around. And then the sextile with Neptune and Pisces is there too to help heal your subconscious mind and your certain belief systems that you have. I bet certain belief systems with the trine that it would be making, or kind of, because it's in the same element sign with Scorpio, where it would be allowing, maybe give an illusion to help you deal with your vulnerabilities and insecurities without actually fully confronting it, where that opportunity is there's open. So don't let Neptune and Pisces, guide you into la la land. Be like, well, you don't have to deal with this insecurity, or you don't have to deal with these intense emotions. You really can just go and put all this, or spit it all over, or pay attention to this, or get lost into this. Don't run away from this confrontation energy, and really take power control of it on Sunday. For sure. For sure. And yeah, that's the week. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all of that shit. Follow us on Instagram, choosespace.biz. That's our website, choosespace.biz. And follow us on Instagram, choosespace_. And yeah, peace out. Have a safe week, guys.
Take care.